What's up, guys? Paul Wolff. We're back home from King of the Hammers. Apparently went from the desert to snow. Actually, we took the snow out there, and now the snow came back. I don't know. I can't escape the snow. For real here. Let's be serious. What's up, guys? Paul Wolff. We're back home from Hammers 2025. Obviously, it's snowing here. Got the cars out of the trailer, gonna power wash them, and Mother Nature, I guess, wanted to snow on them first. I don't really know. But anyways, we're going to do a little post-race recap of how our little event went for each car. We'll start out with the 4400 car here. It went really, really well, considering up until it didn't. We had a brand new motor in the car, and we were having a few issues with the tune on the bottom end. VP Fuels did an awesome job because I actually switched fuel while I was on the lake bed to a little different fuel than what I previously ordered, and they did a great job to accommodate me. I'm really thankful. We got brand new race line rims that we've never ran before, so they actually just built these, and they were phenomenal, awesome rims. Really liked how they fit with the Nitto 42s. They're a little narrower, gave me a little more sidewall flex. I could personally tell inside the car a drastic difference with this rim versus their other rims. So really thankful for this tire and wheel package. Radflow shocks, we went with Dwayne and Radflow, retuned the shocks, got them set up a little better for desert racing and that. You know, I do a lot of East Coast throughout the year, so we got all them dialed back in. Of course, you know, Warren winch, used and abused that thing again. Super happy with everybody that helped us out on the car. I'll get right into the meat of it. So we come out to qualify. The night before qualifying, we were trying some real radical spring rates on the car. We were playing with springs, and I actually hurt one of the spring cups. The guys kicked butt, pulled the shocks off the car the night before qualifying, ran over to Wayne and got the parts, fixed the shocks, put them back on the car, went back to our original spring rate setup that we know won't hurt it. We were trying some out-of-the-box stuff, so a little bit, that's kind of my fault. Like, I probably should have went out a little sooner and tried it earlier. But anyways, come out to qualify, and our goal was just super smooth. We kind of knew smooth was going to be fast, and we did exactly that. We had a really smooth run. We did hit one massive rock on the exit of the downhill. Unexpectedly, from the cars running before us, they were going down the hill and they were dragging the brakes, and they built up a pile of rocks like at the foot of the hill, I guess I'll call it. And so when I come down it moving real fast, I didn't realize they built actually a ramp when I come out on the flat. So the car actually hit it and it got airborne, and when you're airborne you can't turn. So I kind of shot out to the left and drilled a big giant rock, and the car took it. I don't know how, but it took it, and we were able to run back and had the fastest qualifying run, put it on the pole. Roll right into race day. We take off the line, and we were still having issues with the tune. Went to take off the line, and I stomped it on the floor, and the car just fell on its face. It's something with the tune or with the motor. I'm not really for sure just yet. The bottom end, it won't come open off an idle. Like off an idle, a little above idle, it just falls on its face. You get it up about 2,500, 3,000 RPMs, the car will run. But for whatever reason, way down low in there, it just wouldn't run. And so Lauren got me off the jump of the line. I fell in behind him, and he was running a good pace in the desert, so I just stayed with him in the desert. Just didn't want to fall behind, really wasn't worried about trying to pass him. I felt like we had a better car in the rocks than him. I'm normally really good in the rocks in this car, so I knew if I could make it to the rocks, I could probably pick him off in the rocks. That was kind of what we were shooting for. And I knew we were going to have a battle, because we also knew that we were about a half an hour, getting to be a half an hour ahead of the rest of the field. Like, we were really pushing out away from the field when we got into the rocks, and maybe not a half an hour, it's probably a little too much, but anyways, we were pushing out ahead of the field, and my guys were telling us on the radio. So I knew I just kind of wanted to hang with him, and then we got the opportunity in Jackhammer. He took I would call a bad line, and we took, I feel like it was the right line, and got around him there. And once we got around him, that went really well. But the whole time this is all going on, the car's struggling on the bottom end. So when I'm moving, it's fine. When I come into big rocks, and I say big rocks, I'm talking rocks, you know, that are taller than the tires of the car. And when you can't hit them at 10 mile an hour because the car will bounce off of them. So you got to come up to them easy and let the car idle and then try to power up on them and then power up over them. Every time I would do that, the car would just fall on its face. So I was just fighting it just constantly in them big rocks like that. And I kept neutral dropping the car, which I knew was bad. I knew it was going to eventually break the car. I went through pit and I told them what was going on, and I knew they were trying to bring me parts back to pit. So my goal was to run all the rocks, get back to pit too. And we were going to try and change all the sensors on the motor. Like literally we were going to change every sensor in the whole car just to try to get it to run right. We never ended up making it there. I kept getting into the big rocks, kept doing the whole little neutral drop deal. And it finally, I actually had a neutral drop it into reverse. And that's what kind of did it in is I nosed over top of a point and I wanted to back up and get the front end over to go through a pinch point. And the car wouldn't run to let me back up, and I kept having to pull it up to like 2,300, you know, maybe $3,000. I don't really know exact RPM number. And I kept having to drop it into gear, and I dropped it into reverse, and it didn't like it. I felt it inside the car. I knew I lost reverse. At the time, I still had first gear, and I ended up doing the same thing to first gear and getting it through the obstacle I was in, getting it all the way up to the top of Check Me Out. I was pretty confident going up there that I didn't have reverse, but we were just making ground up. So I was like, well, if I'm leading this thing, I'm not just gonna quit. And so I said, I'm gonna run it as far as I can possibly run it, and well, top of Check Me Out's what finally did me in. We got up there, got up on the obstacle, and with the car running real bad, it was using an excessive amount of fuel. I think it was reading that it was real lean, so it was just pouring fuel to the car constantly, and we were just burning a ton of fuel. Like we used way more fuel than I ever expected to use in it. And we got up on the obstacle, and my fuel pumps are in the front of my car, in the front of the tanks, and it starved the fuel pumps for fuel, so I winched the front end down on the obstacle, and as I'm winching, I'm cranking the car over, trying to get it to pick up fuel again. Well, it turns out if you hold 5 and 8 on the S-Pod, you reprogram the S-Pod. So when I did that, I reprogrammed the S-Pod, and then Lauren came up behind me, and I didn't want to be a trail plug. I didn't want to ruin his race when my race was already messed up. So I got out, free spooled the winch, unhooked our winch line, had him pull me off the obstacle so he could clear the obstacle. And then I started working on the car, and had a ton of people. It was kind of wild that my wife ended up calling me on my phone using our Starlink, and people are telling me how to fix the car and what to try and what to check. And I ended up calling S-Pod Josh from S-Pods.
If you hit 5 and 8 at the same time, you can actually cycle through 4 different sources. But what you want to do is hit 5 and 8 at the same time. You'll see switch 1, 2, 3, or 4 light up. And if you keep cycling it, you want to get it back to 1 and make sure it's on 1. So try that. So hit 5 and 8. You'll see lights appear above switch 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Okay, I got it back to 1 now.
Okay, now try your stuff.
Oh, you got it. Yes.
Go.
Okay.
Go.
All right, we'll see you. See you. Sure enough, that's what happened. So we fixed that, refired the car up. And at the time, I still had first gear. Pulled up to the obstacle again and lost first gear, which I already had reverse gone. So I should have known first gear was going to go pretty quick. But everything in the car did really well. Just that little tuning mishap or whatever it is with the motor just became a lot bigger problem than we expected it to. We knew we were hurting a little bit with that, but the rest of the car was on point, and it was super fast. I do know I'm gonna have to listen to everybody for the next year, you know, tell me about, you know, I'm wreckers or checkers and all this stuff, and I ignore it, man. That's the pace we could run all day. This car will take that pace all day long. I know that for a fact. We just had a few little problems in there that was causing all of our issues. As far as we were running though in the desert, like, I feel like that's a pace me and Lauren could carry all day at Hammers. That's what 44 cars are capable of. We just got to work out some reliability stuff, and we'll be able to carry that pace. That's the winning pace. That's the pace I think you'll have to have if everybody doesn't break to win, is you have to run that pace. So that's the pace we're shooting to run next year and any other time we go. I'm not looking to run a slower pace and change anything or wait for guys to break or any of that. I'm there to win. And so that's where my program's at. Other people can do what they want.
Yeah. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm broke. And I'm dusty. That's my Hammers experience.
Yeah.
I went to the desert and lost all my money, and I didn't go to Vegas. How does that sound?
Oh my gosh. That's exactly how it went.
No, I mean, no, we had a phenomenal crew this year. Everybody that helped out, they were awesome. Did really good. We had a badass race car, excuse my language, in 4400. I was extremely upset when we had problems. The car was fast, and I didn't feel like personally I was pushing the car that hard. I felt like I had more in it, and then we started having a few issues with it, and we'll get them sorted, and I'll know more when we get home exactly what happened, and we'll do what we always do. We'll correct it and make it not a problem next year, and we'll see how it goes. Man, I really thought when we come off of lap 1, I really thought we had a really good chance at winning the 4400. Like I said, the car was fast, and it didn't have any issues. So, but you know, that's everybody's story. You know, I mean, everybody had a good car until they don't. So, it is what it is. We'll see. You know, things have been worse and things have been better. So, we'll get it sorted and get back at it. We got Pennsylvania in 3 weeks, which is actually going to be hard to make because we got a lot of broken cars right now. So we'll get them fixed.